The jury is in regarding the Paul Flores murder trial. Did Christian Smart get justice? We're going to tell you all about that in this very short special edition of Charlie Crimebuster. Well, now, after weeks of evidence and days of deliberation, the jury has spoken in the Paul Flores trial. Today, just moments ago, the jury announced their verdict. And there was somewhat of surprise in that verdict. Now, in my past podcast, I shared with you what I thought the jury would say. I actually predicted that they would come back with guilty. Paul being guilty of murder and Reuben, his father, being guilty of covering up the crime. Well, in fact, the jury did find Paul Flores guilty of premeditated murder. But that second jury, the second jury found Reuben, Paul's father, not guilty of covering it up. Well, just like I told you last week, you can never really tell what a jury will really do. And I mentioned the O.J. Simpson trial and the Casey Anthony trial. Both of those juries, I believe, got those wrong. And I believe also that the second jury in this trial, Reuben Flores' jury, they got that wrong as well. In fact, many people believe that there was far more evidence to convict the father than the son. Well, I believe there was enough evidence to convict each. Well, Paul Flores, he is guilty, according to the jury, of premeditated murder. And finally, Christian Smart's family will have some justice done in the conviction of that man who killed her daughter. But what about Reuben? Why did the jury not come back with guilty on him? I think there was a lot of evidence there. In fact, some people think more evidence there than the other. Consider this, the ground under Reuben's deck, that's Paul Flores' father. It had an anomaly where the ground radar showed you could tell a hole had been dug that would match the very body of Christian Smart. And in that dirt was fluid consistent with a decaying or decomposing body. And don't forget, there were pieces of fabric found in the dirt. And that fabric, the colors matched exactly what Christian was wearing on the night she was missing. 3 different colors, the exact colors. And then there was the neighborhood's testimony, how they had seen that there was a trailer that was parked in such a way to keep the neighbors from seeing activity that night. And throughout that night, those vehicles were parked there. This is where many people believe that they removed her body, as they realized the police was closing in and would soon search the grounds for her body. And in that very trailer, the very trailer that was parked there, there was an indication that such fluids were present there on the floor. They had been later cleaned by bleach. Just one spot toward the rear, a spot just enough room to hold a body. That night, it was his ex-wife and his ex-wife's husband that was there. Spent the entire night at the house. Never did that before, but they were there that night as the police was closing in with a search warrant. If not there to remove the body, then why else? Never before had that happened. Then there was that verbal slip-up, remember? Of Paul himself, or Reuben himself rather, when he told authorities, why should they be taking his DNA from his DNA, and he actually mentioned to them about his wife and daughter when he found out they were going to take the DNA from his wife and his daughter. He said, why? He said, I was the one who did the felony, not them. Well, somebody said, he just messed up, but maybe not. Then the night after the weekend that Christian went missing, Reuben's wife, that next day or next week, on Monday or Tuesday, told her co-workers that Reuben had gotten a phone call early in the morning, the wee hours of the morning, and immediately he got out of bed and took off. Many believe that was him responding to his son's call for help. There are additional activities concerning the vehicles they own, I believe all pointed to the guilt. So I believe the jury got it right when it convicted Paul of murder, premeditated murder. But I believe that second jury, I believe it missed it. Because I believe that Reuben helped him cover it up. Well, what do you think, my friend? Feel free to contact me. You can email me at charliecrimebuster@gmail.com. That's charliecrimebuster@gmail.com. Also, if you need to get caught up on the case, well, go to charliecrimebuster.com. Click on episodes. You'll be able to get caught up on this fascinating case, and you can see how a simple podcast brought it to trial. Hey, I'm going to put both of those links in the show notes. So until this time next time, and by the way, this next week we continue with the series that we're doing on the Oklahoma Girl Scout murders, Part 2, coming up this next week on your favorite podcast platform. So until this time next time, this is Charlie Crimebuster reminding you, stay safe, stay alert. The life you save, it may be your very own.